Testing the microphone, 1, 2, 3. Testing the microphone, 1, 2, 3. But it's fine. It's fall.
Yeah, it is. It is time for that. Here it's like 82 or 83 outside.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And of all the days, this is definitely, there's a lot of construction going on in my neighborhood, so I don't want to be sitting outside
Okay.
causing a racket on all the interviews, but it is just glorious out there.
Oh, I bet. I've seen some shots of you. I don't know where you were, but outside and other things you've done, it looks very nice.
Oh yeah, the online shows.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
I like your Emmy in the background there.
Well, thank you very much. You know, you're talking to a quality broadcast.
There's no question right now.
Very good. Very good.
Well, what did you win your Emmy for?
I've got a few Emmys for the show for extra.
Oh, cool.
And then some other local Emmys for when I was in local news and stuff like that over the years.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Doing this a long time.
Yes.
Yes. As I know you have, because I know your career, and we've talked before, and you started very young, and you're so talented and done so many great things over the years. So it's a pleasure to do this with you today.
It's a pleasure to talk to you again, too.
So first of all, how have you been holding up? How have you been doing? I know you've been keeping busy, which is a good thing.
I've been keeping really busy. It's been obviously the strangest year, I think, in our lives. But in a way, what it's done is, I think it's tested us to where we find out what we're made of and what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are, what our vulnerabilities are, what are we afraid of. And all this time spent alone, once I got over the isolation of it, it's really helped me to focus on what my goals are. And as it turned out, this book that's been in the works for a long time came through, and I got an offer on it just a few days after the Nashville tornado struck my house and the neighborhood that I live in. And then the pandemic was right on its heels, and the shutdown here in Tennessee. So once I realized, okay, this is our reality, this is life, here we are. I had a book to work on and write, and I had songs that were already scheduled to be recorded in the studio for my next album. And that got put on hold, but it's since been done. And this movie that's airing on Hallmark this weekend had been in the works for years as well. It's a story that I had been developing with them. And when the pandemic shut down the filming business, Hallmark only had a few scripts that were actually ready to go. And because of that, and because of the years that it had taken to get this one script ready, when they opened up again, this was the first one that they had. And so Christmas Tree Lane was actually the first major production to film in the United States.
How cool is that? I remember you posted something and it seemed like it was right at the start of everything and you were the first out there. And I remember thinking, like, how brave. I hope they're safe. No one knew what to expect. I know things have gotten rolling since then, but that was a big deal at the time when you started doing this.
It was, I can't even put words to how strange it was to be on a set and kind of learning as we went, and everyone kind of keeping our eyes and ears open and doing our best to keep everybody safe. But, you know, it's a miracle that so much has continued to go into production, and the protocols have been put in place and enforced and developed lightning fast so that we're able to keep putting content out there. if we had thought we'd be having this somebody had told us we were having this conversation a year ago, we never would have believed it.
Sure. Yeah. Once it felt normal and good, if it did, how wonderful was that feeling for such a wonderful story, which I know came from you, and such wonderful music? It must have felt really good once things got rolling and you were in that place.
It was, yeah, we burst into tears, a lot of us, and me especially, at the end. That final climactic scene was, it was filmed on the last day of production, which is always fun when it works out that way. And the sun started to rise at 4:45 or so as the crane pulled back on the last big establishing shot of the night. And it was like we all sighed a collective exhale, knowing that we had done it and we did it safely and it was in the can and it was going to be coming out and hopefully helping make Christmas brighter for some people. Also, it would have been surreal for me anyhow, just having lived with this story for so long and looking around and seeing the roles that had been living in my head cast, and there they were in the flesh and they existed. And
yeah.
All of it was incredibly strange and beautiful. And then I arrived back here in Nashville, and one of my closest friends got COVID a week later and was really ill, and she's, knock on wood, she's okay. It's just like, what a year of kind of highs and lows and fears and hopes. And I think what we're all learning is how to find connectivity through the strangeness, and being on a set and all wearing masks and being distant is not what we think of in either of our professions, but it's
Sure.
we're all learning how to make it work.
Yeah. And now to have this debuting this weekend with your music, with the new song being released this week, that would be special regardless of anything you've just talked about. It's such a wonderful project, and must just be a great feeling. How proud are you of what you've accomplished?
Thank you. It is. It's very early to be celebrating Christmas, but I truly feel like if there was ever a year when we needed early Christmas or could use early Christmas, it's
I think people are ready. Yeah.
I don't have any decorations up at my house yet, but I don't think it's far behind.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
And I know that along with this movie, I looked at the schedule, and a lot of your other movies are, of course, are popping on as well, even this weekend. So how much fun is that to know that once again, you're going to be the face of a lot of people's holiday joy starting this weekend for weeks, I'm guessing, for months.
It's, when I first made a movie for Hallmark, I like, that was 8 years ago. My first Hallmark Christmas movie. I had no idea that, I didn't know what I was getting involved with or how big or how sacred it is. And I think, especially this year, but also people have shared with me repeatedly how these films help get them through very rough times, or surgeries, or losses of loved ones, or financial uncertainty. Whatever it is, these movies help bring people hope and help bring a sense of joy and peace, even when our lives don't have a whole lot of that in them. So I realized that they're Christmas movies, but it's also what Christmas means to us on a larger scale. And the fact that people actually watch these movies all year round, sometimes, to just take them back to a more innocent and hopeful time, that's incredible. I've realized when I go to airports or places like that, what these movies mean to people. And I can always tell when someone's coming up to me if they're about to mention the Hallmark Christmas movies. Because, you know, a lot of the other stuff that I work on tends to be either sci-fi or horror, or a friend of mine pointed out to me the other day that mostly everything she's seen me in, aside from the Hallmark movies, has been playing a villain of some sort or another. And, you know, I love playing roles like that, but I think those challenge people and make people think and entertain them and give them thrills. But there's something very special about giving people hope and optimism and making us remember that we are all a lot more alike than we are different, especially as divided as this country is right now. Sure. And as scared as we all are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how wonderful though to have both those worlds as an actor, to be able to do that, and been doing that for a long time, to be able to, you know, to have your Lynch fans and to have your other fans, and then to do these wonderful holiday movies. As an actor, to be able to live in those worlds must be, it's a credit to your talents, obviously, but must be a joy for you as an actor.
It's such a joy. It's what I always wanted from the time I was a child and I first got into acting, was to play as many different types of characters as I could, to get to slip into the psyche of somebody that's very different from me. Something equally fun about telling a story from a character's point of view that is just, for lack of a better word, kind of an ordinary woman. And she's experiencing a lot of the same things that perhaps some of the people in the audience are experiencing. And to get to go back and forth into all of these characters' worlds is deeply satisfying to me as an actor. But there's also something uniquely joyous in playing these Christmas roles, because you take a certain heaviness with you when you're playing a character that you know is going to meet with an unhappy ending, or is going through some sort of deep psychological trauma, or living in a zombie apocalypse, or whatever it is going on. If you're playing a character that is trying to save her family's music store and she might just fall in love in the process, you kind of go home at night with a real lightness and a sense of joy. You don't have to work so hard to make sure that character is nowhere near you before you go to bed.
With the twinkly lights of Christmas Tree Lane in your head still.
Yes.
Still
yeah.
Very nice.
I always say I enjoy making these as much as it seems people enjoy watching them. And whenever I get that call saying, okay, we have a start date for whatever that movie is that we're planning on filming that year, I look forward to it so much. Every aspect of it is just joy and easy. And I really do feel like I get to celebrate Christmas at least twice.
Very nice. Right.
Yeah.
And the joy of bringing your music to people, your new music now, and your stage at shows you've been doing, like, you know, still being able to connect to audiences and people that love what you do through your music. How great has that been to still have that connection? It's not the same, but talk about what that's been like.
I've been amazed at how similar it really is to connect to people through a computer screen. These shows that I've been playing on the virtual platform Stage It have really felt like a godsend for me personally. Missing playing live shows so much. There's a connection that I feel with a live audience when I'm sharing a song that is very personal to me, but I can look out there and I see people relating very deeply to that song from their own life, putting their own meanings to my words and my music, and coming up to me after or before the show and sharing what those songs have meant to them. It just kind of keeps me knowing that this is part of my purpose here and wanting to continue doing it. And I was scheduled to be on tour this past spring, and that of course had to be canceled. And then it was rescheduled for the summer and has been now postponed to next spring again. Mm-hmm. But these stages shows, I sit here from my home and I take out my keyboard and I go through the list of requests that people have submitted, and I play these 50-minute shows, and there's a chat log on the side of the box where the performer is. And it feels, if anything, almost more connected than a live show, because people are commenting and having their own connections with one another while I'm playing. Mm-hmm. Obviously, at a live show, you can't talk during the performance. And these amazing regulars who have come to all of my virtual shows have actually become really good friends with one another too. They've created a special Facebook group for themselves. Wow. And they FaceTime with each other, and they know every detail about each other's lives. I really have no words for the gratitude of that. That's why I would want to make music in the first place. So we have to do our best to count our blessings in a very strange year. Mm-hmm. And I would say these virtual shows and the community that have built worldwide from that I've had a chance to meet each other. That's a real gift. That is a real gift. I'm playing another one this Friday, actually.
Very cool.
And I'm going to continue doing them with some consistency on stage, at least until live shows can continue. But maybe even after that, it's just a form of connection, that to sit wherever I am and play for people, and then the show ends and I feel that same sort of natural high that I get when I come off of a stage. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense, and yet it does, because it's all the energy that is buzzing around and feeding off of each other. And we can generate that energy simply through connecting with one another. We don't have to be physically in the same space to do that. And that's the revelation.
Yeah, how nice, how nice. And then talk about what else you have going on in terms of more music and other movies that are going to be coming out soon that people can look forward to as we go through this fall into the end of the year.
Well, I have a movie called I Care a Lot, which I have a supporting role in. It's an incredible cast with Rosamund Pike, Diane Wiest, Peter Dinklage, and it just debuted at the Toronto Film Festival. And I play an evil character in it, delightfully evil, I think.
Fun.
That's going to be coming out on Netflix sometime this fall. And then there's another movie called Modern Persuasion, which I'm leading a phenomenal ensemble cast, including Bebe Neuwirth, who I've always wanted to work with, and she plays my aunt in it.
Oh, great. Yeah.
That is a modern adaptation of Jane Austen's novel Persuasion. And it's very cleverly adapted to modern day times. I even have a cat named Wentworth in it.
There you go.
That's coming out a little bit later through Samuel Goldwyn Pictures.
Fun.
And I've been working on my new album. So I've got 10 songs so far, and I'm planning to release it in the spring. So I'm putting all of that in the works.
Very nice.
At the moment. And I'm working on a book as well called Small Change, which is out next fall.
Lots of great stuff. Lots of great stuff. And all your music's available wherever people can get music, on Spotify and Apple Music and all that kind of stuff. All the great
Yes, it is.
EPs and singles and albums you put out over the years.
Yes, it's all out there on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. And I have vinyl and CDs and all that stuff.
Very cool.
my website's aliciawittmusic.com, and you can
Nice.
find links to everything there, including the Stage It shows.
Very cool. Very cool. And then I have to ask you about about this remake of Dune. I'm just curious your take is on that. I don't think David Lynch even wants to talk about it. But I was just curious what you thought about that. If you're curious about what it's going to be like as someone who lived through that world.
I am very curious what it's going to be like. I think the trailer looks fantastic. And I have to say, I think the trailer looks like the director probably is a big fan of David Lynch's version, because there's some shots that are directly from David's original. So I'm very curious to hear more about Denis Villeneuve's vision for it and what he liked and perhaps wanted to improve on from David's version. I think the cast looks fantastic.
For sure. Yeah.
And I just can't wait to see it. I mean, that movie obviously is so ingrained in me for a million reasons. But I always felt like it was a little bit ahead of its time and what it was trying to convey and the style of it all. And I'm just chomping at the bit to see it. I love his previous works, and I have a feeling I'm going to really like this.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, real pleasure talking to you, Alicia. This has been a treat. We'll spread the word about it.
Oh, there you are.
Am I still here? Yes, I want to get off before I lose
You
you
are.
altogether.
You froze and then you came back really quickly, and now you're back.
I'm a little worried about the connection, so I want to say goodbye while things are still working. But you're the best. Congrats on this. We'll spread the word about the movie and everything else you have going on, and look forward to seeing you in person down the line.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure getting to talk to you. Thank you for reaching out.
Likewise, yes. It was a pleasure talking to you, and we'll keep you posted on everything.
Okay.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.